Hey everybody, Bobo Gaming here, and now I've reviewed what happened in 2021 with Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, I thought it might be a fun little exercise to have a look at what I think could come to the game in 2022. Now this isn't just in terms of characters, but also adjustments to game modes, what we might expect from the future conquests, maybe new Omicrons and things like this. So let's start taking a look with what characters we might expect. In 2021 we had a leak which proved to be quite accurate so far, in the Grand Arena would become our crystal resource and we would get an Omicron for Qui-Gon Jinn. And the big thing that was in that we haven't seen so far is that we're going to get Nihilus's capital ship, the Ravager. So I would expect to see this in 2021. Now, the thing is that this may be different to previous capital ships. I think it's obvious that we're going to get Darth Nihilus, probably required at Relic 8, maybe Relic 9, as the pilot or the crew member, whatever, of the Ravager. But what we may see is the first capital ship that has multiple crew members. We could possibly see Sith Empire Trooper as a toon that not everyone has at Relic, or maybe just Traya and Scion. I'm more inclined to think we may see Sith Empire Trooper with Nihilus as a second crew member, as opposed to seeing the whole Triumvirate as the crew. I think we're incredibly likely to see Sith Marauder and his bomber, as well as Sith Assassin with the Sith Fighter as required ships at somewhere between Relic 5 and possibly up to Relic 8 for the Sith Marauder, as people will already have him at Relic 7, so possibly Relic 8 for that extra bit of money for CG. Now, I wouldn't find that too surprising. Now, this one probably doesn't really synergize too much with Ravager, but it's from the same area, so I wouldn't be surprised to see Ebon Hawk requiring maybe Relic 5 on Carth and T3 as a requirement for Ravager either. We could also see the inclusion of a new ship, possibly from Conquest, of the Sith Supremacy Starfighter. While this isn't from KOTOR 2, it is from Star Wars The Old Republic, the MMO, so it's from roughly the same sort of era. So I wouldn't be too surprised to not see a new ship required to make this capital ship work. And that would give us 4 ships so far. I don't think we're going to see the Emperor's shuttle with Palpatine and Royal Guard as a requirement, but it is one of the Sith ships, so it is possible. And that goes the same for Darth Maul and his Scimitar? Yeah, it's Scimitar. And Darth Vader's TIE Advanced. Mainly because these characters are already required at Relic, especially in the case of Darth Vader being required at Relic 7. And also his ship was required for Executor. But I guess it's possible we see the Sith Silencer ship, Scimitar ship with Darth Maul, as Darth Maul's only required at Relic 4, so maybe they bump that up to 5 to 7. They may even introduce more ships, but this is what I would be expecting to see. I would be expecting to see Nihilus at Relic 8 or possibly 9, Sith Fighter and the Sith Bomber at Relic 5 to 8, Ebon Hawk, and then either a new ship or higher relics for more crew members on the Ravager. So we'll see how that pans out. As we all expect Ravager to come in 2022, I think that leads us to think that maybe a Knights of the Old Republic era is coming, especially with the remake of Knights of the Old Republic 1 being released this year. So with that, maybe we go into a Knights of the Old Republic era, and that's going to lead us to potentially a host of new toons that we could get, especially from Knights of the Old Republic 2 and from the Old Republic MMO. So the toons we could get could be Mitra Surik, who is the protagonist of Knights of the Old Republic 2, along with her companions Anton Rand, Mandalore, which is Canderous assuming the mantle of Mandalore. And then we have a host of characters from the Old Republic MMO we could get. So that's Satele Shan, who was a major force in the Old Republic's Jedi faction and a descendant of Bastila Shan and Revan. There's Darth Maul, who was one of the Sith Council members. HK-51, who is a remake upgrade of the legendary HK-47 from the original games. There's Darth Scourge, who's another Sith. And from later in the expansion, we have other characters who came along in the form of Valen, her brother Arkan, and their mother Senya. Then we have one major character that a lot of people would really like to see hit the holotables, and that's Darth Malgus. He's a great character, really powerful in the game, and I think a lot of people would like to see him hit the holotables. If we get any number of these characters, when you combine them also with the existing KOTOR Era characters like the Sith Triumvirate, Revan, Malik, Bastila, Carth, etc., we could very easily see two new galactic legends in Revan Reborn and the Sith Emperor, Tenebrae, Vitiate, whichever you want to call him, and we would have splits for the requirements quite easily. The Ravager capital ship, for example, all the Old Republic toons, all the Sith Empire toons, and these new characters, whether they're marquees, maybe a legendary, maybe a conquest toon. We could definitely see this happening as a plausible thing. And that could be quite interesting. I'm not sure if they do it. I'm not sure if they want to do Revan Reborn yet, or if they could even do him as a neutral character. But this could be something I see coming to the holotable. If not this year, maybe in 2023 or 2024. While we're on the topic of Galactic Legends, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw two Galactic Legends from Return of the Jedi. The first being Jabba the Hutt as a Galactic Legend for the Bounty Hunter faction. We now have a lot of Bounty Hunters in the game. Pretty good units, but they could really benefit from having a Galactic Legend there to bring their faction to the next level. And Jabba the Hutt is pretty iconic as Star Wars characters go. We could really see something quite interesting with him. Maybe not as a bounty hunter leader, but as a support unit for the bounty hunter faction. So doing something a little different than previous GLs. Then we also have two options for Princess Leia. I think the little pervy boys of us would love to see Leia in the slave girl bikini look. I think that's pretty much a joke. We're not going to see that. But we could see the Leia from Endor as a leader of the Rebels, which also don't have a galactic legend and could really take a number of Rebel teams to the next level. Imagine Leia on a Mon Mothma team as a support, or maybe as a replacement for CLS, or with the ability to bring up other Rebel units which you don't really use, like Lando or the other two Leias in the game, Captain Han. These fringe Rebels don't really have a home at the moment and could very much benefit from a galactic legend to help them out there. So I could really see splits for these GLs working quite nicely. Han's Millennium Falcon or Akbar's Home One as the ship for Leia. Maybe Slave One or Houndstooth as the ship for Jabba the Hutt. Primarily Bounty Hunters as the units required to unlock Jabba. And then fringe Rebel units such as Lando, Captain Han, the original two Leias required to unlock a General Leia or a Endor Leia, however it would be labelled. But I could see these two units coming to the holotables. I'm not saying we would see 4 or 6 GLs in 2022. Just throwing some ideas of GLs we may possibly see. And I would be happy to see either of these two on the holotables. Now, while we're on the topic of Galactic Legends, I think the only other two Galactic Legends we could realistically see for 2022, especially with the upcoming Ahsoka show coming to Disney Plus, would be Grand Admiral Thrawn and Ezra Bridger. Now, I'm a little unsure about these. Maybe they're not Galactic Legend worthy characters. I mean, I would argue that Thrawn is one of the most legendary characters in Star Wars, but Ezra maybe a little bit less so. We could see Thrawn from the Ahsoka show as a Galactic Legend, maybe not for Empire, as we already have Vader, but maybe as that 5th unit to make the Imperial Remnant faction work. Again, I could see him in a support role instead of a leader role and allowing Gideon to take on that leadership. And as a support toon, he could do a lot of great things. Maybe he would have his fracture but can fracture GLs, or maybe an ultimate which is a mass fracture, or something around that. I would expect to see a Thrawn with a lot of turn meter manipulation or turn meter swapping, something like that. The ability to control the flow of battle. Then we could also see Ezra maybe as that Phoenix or Rebel fighter or just Rebel Galactic Legend. I would like to see him as a Phoenix Galactic Legend personally, and he could be really strong there as a new leader for the Phoenix squad. And there are a lot of toons which we can already use that could be used to unlock these characters. Obviously, for Ezra, you have the 6 Phoenix squad, and then basically any of the rebels that they really wanted to throw in there, any he's interacted with to some degree, maybe some Jedi. With Thrawn, you have the whole Imperial Remnant faction and a plethora of Empire characters that he would have interacted with throughout the years. Tarkin, Vader, maybe Stark Veers, maybe just the whole Imperial Trooper faction, the Death Troopers, the Dark Troopers, etc., etc. So there's a whole host of toons there, which aren't necessarily already required for other Galactic Legends that could be required for these two characters, So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw them in 2022 or maybe in another year. Well, this has been my roundup of what characters and units I think could be added to the game for 2022. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'll look at uploading another video tomorrow, a part 2 to this video, where I'm going to look at what changes we could see to the game, what we could expect from Conquest, new Omicrons, and things like that. So I hope to see you then, and I hope you enjoyed the video. As always, give it a like, comment and subscribe, and feel free to join my Discord, which will be linked in the description. Thanks very much, and take care.